Hello, and welcome to IFA's Product Spotlight. My name is Maja and I am the editor of the IFA. So today on the show, I have a very special guest. His name is George Haramis and he is the CEO and co-founder of moneyGPS. Welcome to the show, George.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here.
Pleasure to have you always. So, George, you've obviously been in the advice industry for a number of decades now.
Thank you.
Which shows that you have several or more than several years of experience in the profession itself. Now, George, before we started filming this video, you told me that we are currently seeing a perfect storm of opportunity for advisors. Please tell me more about that.
Yeah, so look, it's a good point that you raised. Towards the end of the last calendar year, we were talking about the events of what happened during 2023. So we all know that advisor numbers are going nowhere. In fact, they're reducing. They're really not making much progress in terms of increasing those numbers. Cost of advice, just like everything else, is increasing, and it doesn't look like it'll be reducing anytime soon. But one of the really positive things to happen throughout the year was there was more discussion about QAR. The government started to accept some of the recommendations, and then out of the blue, on the 7th of December, Minister Jones came out and said we're accepting the great bulk of recommendations, but also during that press conference, he did reference digital advice, saying that, and this was, it sounded like it was being directed to the super funds, but he brought in other organisations such as banks, insurance companies, both life and general insurance companies, and the broader institutions, saying that to deliver scalability and so that you can deliver advice to more people, give them access to affordable advice, you need to use digital. You should be using digital, albeit that in some cases, digital should be accompanied by a human. So you've got that hybrid approach, which we all agree is really the preferred approach. So bringing that all together, end of the year on a great note, but it also provided some food for thought in terms of, well, how now there's more players coming into this market, right? A lot more than what people think from my point of view, because you've got all those organisations that I mentioned earlier. You've also got some other groups that we're certainly having a chat to that are embracing digital and are coming into the market. So there's lots of opportunities, and we can talk about them in a minute, but we're seeing an uptick in activity and people looking at digital far more closely, being, the start of the new year, effectively.
Definitely. And you mentioned that 7th of December and Minister Jones did sort of come out and give the government's views on the second and third tranche. And as you mentioned, he was welcoming the banks and super funds and insurers back into advice. And I think the thing that stuck out to advisors most was that qualified advisor tag. And we might have sort of missed that digital advice mention, I think, after he said that. It was
Look, the term qualified advisor is unfortunate. Is an unfortunate term, and since then he has said, "Well, that's an easy fix." And it is an easy fix. More importantly, if we sort of move away from the description, it means that he's encouraging people to deliver advice at a minimum level, probably like a diploma, but we've yet to see the specifics. Receive no commission or fees, so they're salaried. I'm assuming that they're going to be salaried. Right? So what that means from my point of view is that more people within super funds and those other potential players coming in may introduce this new advisor level. Whether the banks do it, get back into employing people, I don't know. That's yet to be seen. Within the moneyGPS environment, we do have ex-advisors, ex-CFPs, we call GPS coaches, who do engage with the client at various steps throughout the digital process. And we find that the clients are quite comfortable with that process because they're speaking to a human. And as much as we've got a digital journey that we deliver to clients, a fully client-led journey, the validation they get from engaging with a human, answering questions, giving them that extra bit of support, taking them to the next step of starting an SOA or implementing is a really big thing for most people, because whether they're digitally savvy or well paid or well educated, the money thing for most people is just completely foreign. And as they've said to me, because I ring them up, saying, you're digitally savvy, you're well placed, you've got a good education, you can do this. No, I don't want to stuff it up. Right? So that hybrid approach is important, and I think that's what he was getting at. I'm assuming that's what he was getting at. Just an unfortunate term, which sort of detracted from, you know,
it did from
really
everything that was
key
good.
points, because there were some fantastic points in his media release. Yeah. So you know, you've got scoping, you know, which is tech neutral for all the institutions and what have you. We're moving away from statements of advice to advice records.
Yeah.
But whether that reduces the cost of advice or not, I don't know. I doubt it very much, to be honest. But all of that has combined to create an environment where, from where I sit, there'll be a converging of professions. When you look at the advisors, the super funds, the institutions, professions like the accounting profession.
Potentially, yeah.
Well, you know, they look after 26, 27% of the superannuation market through SMSFs, as well as all their individual clients. So they're a large participant without actually being actively involved, but through a digital environment, and we're delivering solutions to the accounting profession through moneyGPS. So they're subscribing to the platform now because they don't have to be licensed to use our platform. We're the licensee, in effect. We deliver the advice through the AFSL.
Yeah. So, George, overall, do you think 2024 is the year of digital?
Absolutely.
Is that,
Yeah, it might be the year of the dragon for Chinese New Year, but it's certainly the year of digital for us because, as I said, all of these factors have come together, and the only way now forward is using digital because all of the roadblocks have been removed. And the government said you should be using digital. It's the first time Minister Jones, to his credit, has come out and actively referenced and, well, in a way, promoted to everybody that, hey, look at using digital. Bear in mind that you probably will need a human, which is the hybrid approach, as I said earlier. It has to be the year, and I can tell you from a personal point of view and within our own business, we've started to see a number of groups that we've been speaking to for quite some time now started to take a little bit more active interest in what we're doing and how will they incorporate some form of advice capability using a digital offering. So they've brought that forward, which has brought our plans forward in terms of, you know, expanding the business.
And how would how do you sort of foresee digital playing a role in terms of competition within advice and sort of what impact will it have on the profession, I guess?
Well, by using a digital platform, let's say like a moneyGPS digital platform, more people have got access to delivering a digital solution or an advice solution to start with. The fact that it is digital in a way is a secondary issue because what an accountant can do, what an employee can do, what a trustee can do in a super fund is now to say to their members and all their clients, I can offer you advice solution. You can afford it. I mean, our fees are between $90 and $180 per topic. You can afford it. You can do it whenever you want because it's online. And hey, if you want to speak to someone, you can. And it won't cost you the earth. So delivering that type of functionality and when someone needs it is a huge plus for people because I don't have to travel to see an advisor. One that I can't afford anyway, because as we know, 80 to 90% of the population can't afford complex advice. And look, from an advisor's perspective, I would be seeing it as a huge plus because digital isn't competing. Digital is providing them with an opportunity to grow their business. In my previous business before moneyGPS, we had around 30 odd accounting practices licensed to us for SMSF purposes. Now, if I had moneyGPS at that point, I would put it in every one of those accounting practices because yes, they were referring complex clients to our advisors, but it's not the complex clients that are using digital. It's the clients that have very simple needs that can access an advice topic when they want it. The advisors shouldn't be worried about that because they're dealing with the complex clients, but at the same time, they're growing their business because the clients are using their service, which they can integrate into their practice.
Definitely. And tell me, we've spoken about this before in terms of advisors embracing digital.
Yeah.
Obviously, we had, there's a history there in terms of robo-advice, and we've spoken about the differences between digital and robo. It's not the same thing.
No.
But why do you believe, obviously you mentioned, growing a business, advisors are facing a lot of costs. There's the ASIC levy that just keeps getting bigger. There's, all sorts of, exactly.
Yeah.
So how does digital actually, help them in terms of growing their business and then also serving, a broader range of clients, I guess?
It's a great question. So if we look at an advice practice currently, most advisors I know that have been around for 5-10 years, have got good client bases, they receive clients through referral, they focus at the pre-retirement, retirement level, high net worth, complex situations. That's what they do. And they charge 4, 5, 6, 10, some charge $20,000 for an SOA, which is out of reach for most people.
Yeah.
A lot of advisors do have referral partners, such as accountants, mortgage brokers, employers, lawyers. Digital allows them to integrate. Let's say we're using a moneyGPS proposition. So the moneyGPS platform could be integrated into an accounting practice that's aligned with an advisor or an employer. We can integrate the services of the advisor, insurance, lending and finance, estate planning, comprehensive advice, onto our platform. So we can tailor the platform for an individual practice to bring in their services. The clients who need complex advice would be using their services anyway. They'd be going direct. But every other client that needs support in a range of different advice areas could go onto the moneyGPS platform. We would determine through our fact find what type of advice topics that they're qualified to access, what's in their best interest, and even close the door for those that are not. But if they need insurance and lending or estate planning, it's already embedded on the platform. They can go direct. It's a self-serve option. They don't have to see an advisor. And all of the services that are on the platform from an advisor's perspective, which are theirs, they retain 100% of the revenue. So I'm broadening my base of opportunities.
Clients,
I'm not doing any work for it because we do all the marketing. So it's a full turnkey operation. They're keeping 100% of their revenue. Now you're probably asking, is George doing this for free or not? But
what's in it for you, George?
Well, we just charge. I'm just a nice bloke. Right? But we charge a subscription fee to the advisor or the accounting practice. We provide 50% of the digital advice fees, the revenue to the advisor, and they keep 100% of all the fees they earn from their services. For all of the services that the advisor doesn't use, and we have referral relationships for home equity release or aged care services and things like that, any revenue that we earn, we give the advisor 80% of that revenue. So they get 80%. The other 20% goes to charity.
Okay.
So we're supporting a few charities both here and overseas.
That's interesting.
And we want to broaden out our charitable philosophy and hoping to work with a number of not-for-profits. So we made some inroads there as well. So it's an opportunity for an advisor to take hold of digital, right? Use it for the clients that they've currently got in their practice who might be non-advised, the old C&D type client where they've had to turn off the revenue, the children of their high net worth, which they lose money on. I keep getting told I lose money on the kids because there's really not much there. But also, if you're expanding your business with referral partners, this is the perfect way to do it because it engages your referral partners in a way which is very positive from their point of view. I mean, we've got a lot of accountants using the platform directly. So we know that accountants and mortgage brokers love this because we do it all for them and we use our license. So the digital advice is provided by our license, which we thought would be the main game, but we are getting a number of small boutique and some mid-sized AFSLs asking if they can license the tech, put their AFSL on it, which is quite interesting.
Yeah, that's very interesting. And listening to you talk, it's also a great way for advisors to capture that younger clientele. We do keep talking about, and obviously they're all digitally savvy, and so you can basically go on the platform and you can, how do I save for a holiday? I assume things like that are part of the.
I mean, we were talking about the first home owners super saver scheme before. A lot of people don't know about it, so we're developing an SOA for it. It's a great way to help with the deposit for your first home. as opposed to, if you're at that stage in life where you're looking at pre-retirement planning, we now have pre-retirement and retirement income SOAs. So we've moved from the simple superannuation savings to more complex superannuation SOAs to now into pre-retirement and retirement income, which is the big game for the super funds and their trustees, as ASIC, APRA,
everyone.
And the minister keep telling the super fund trustees.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So it captures sort of that whole range of the youngsters all the way to retirement.
So we're dealing with accounting practices, advisory businesses, moving into employers and not-for-profits, but also large organisations that have very big member bases, a real range of demographics, age demographics. So we've been able to complete a suite of products and services that start at the younger level and go right up to pre-retirement, retirement income stage. The full suite now.
Yeah, wow. And George, obviously you got into the digital game sort of before anyone was talking much about it. But since the government, since Michelle Levy first put together that report, she mentioned digital advice, obviously, and then we've had the minister acknowledge it as well. We've seen a sort of bunch of new players enter the environment. Yeah. What do you think about that competition? And then how does moneyGPS distinguish itself from the rest? What makes you guys stand out?
Yeah, good question. Look, I think competition is healthy for the industry. There's 12, 13 million working Australians, so there's a lot of people to go around here, and the bulk of them need support. So the fact that more players are coming in that deliver some form of digital solution is a good thing. So that's my starting point. In terms of what makes us different, that one of the key things is that we use our own license to deliver the advice. So if I'm talking to an AFSL, the first question I get all the time is, "That's great, George, but whose license are we using?" We're using my license. That's fine. We take it to the next step and have the discussion. That seems to be a key differentiator. I mean, we have several licenses because we offer the same service to super funds. Some of the super funds would like to deliver advice but don't want the risk of digital advice to be on their AFSL. We'll take it on with our secondary AFSL. So that's an important differentiator, but it also provides an opportunity for people to deliver a service which they're comfortable with and they're not concerned about the compliance requirements. Now, I'm the RM on the licenses. We have the rules reviewed on a regular basis. We're quite comfortable. It's simple advice, Maja. So we're not talking complex.
Yeah, of course.
The other thing which differentiates us is, there's actually two. There's the fact that we have developed the tech to be purely client-led, but with the hybrid option of having a coach or an advisor get involved. Excuse me. Excuse me. And the second thing is that we provide a full, what I call a turnkey solution. So if an advisory firm or an accounting practice or a large AFSL want to introduce digital to their business, we do everything. So we white label the platform for them, their brand, their colours, integrate their products. They keep the revenue. We can build new products for them. We do all the marketing. We do the management reporting. For some groups, we help them build their distribution network of accounting practices. So it's a full business proposition. Commercially, it works out really well. We don't retain any commissions. We give some of the money to charity. The practice retains 100% of their own products. And very importantly, the tech, the algorithm and the calculation engine will identify people at various stages of the process when they're completing the fact find or after that should be seeing an advisor. So we triage people out to the planner. So in a way, you're growing your business with the help of moneyGPS. You're engaging clients or clients are engaging you by stealth because you're not directly marketing to them. We are, and they're doing everything digitally anyway. And we've created an ecosystem that allows people to access advice when they need it, but also access other services that help with cost of living, aged care, estate planning, which are two huge areas, and other services where they're saving money. So it's including a range of education modules. We have a big suite of education.
So it's really ticking both the affordability and accessibility box of the government's, and then that's sort of the aim of all these reforms.
Yes, we're expanding on that to the point where we're integrating with we're open banking.
Oh yeah.
So whilst the client fills out the questionnaire, average time between 10 and 15 minutes, which isn't too bad.
Yeah.
We are integrating with an open banking provider to access more quality data. The next step is to integrate with Xplan and any other CRM that someone wants us to, and also Xero Practice Manager for the accountants. So what that allows us to do is pre-populate the fact find with quality data, reduces the time that the client has to spend on completing a fact find to say 5 minutes. Everybody wants things done quickly now, yeah. But very importantly, it allows us to work with the advisor to review the data, provided the client gives us the go-ahead. So we can have more fruitful conversations, more productive conversations with the client about their lives, basically, their financial lives, and help them along the way, because we've got a lot of the data that we can analyse. So it's as much about delivering affordable and accessible advice as it is about reviewing the data that allows you to engage the client more productively. Yeah. So that's the next sort of big thing.
And how are advisors responding to MoneyGPS and to sort of overall digital advice? You're having a lot of conversations,
Lots of conversations.
on the ground. Yeah.
We're getting, I was saying before, we're getting thousands of hits on the website, which is great.
It shows a real, and if you compare that to last year, I assume it's
just skyrocketed. Lots of meetings. Interesting that sort of the transition of all this was in the early days. They'd be talking to us with their arms folded. These days it's more, well, tell me how it works. How do I integrate it in my practice? Why aren't you competing anyway? So we explain that, which is an easy sort of get for them. But how do they commercialise it? That's the biggie. And as much as we deliver digital advice, we deliver a business solution. We understand advice practices. I mean, I've been running dealer groups for, as you said, several decades, 30 years. Ran my own boutique AFSL, worked with accountants as well as advisors. And what I'm trying to do with the accounting profession is have them understand the value that they've got in their clients. They do the books, they do the financials, but they don't look behind the numbers because they're so busy, right? So you could have an accounting practice, typical 2 or 3 partner practice, having hundreds of millions of dollars in assets for property, cash, term deposits, not enough insurance across the client base, hardly any estate planning, things like that. So it's analysing those things that MoneyGPS does very well, that helps the practice and the client.
Definitely. And George, to our audience today, if anyone does want to reach out to you, find out more about digital advice, find out more about sort of MoneyGPS, where do they go? They go to moneygps.com.au. They can call me on my mobile. And can we print it on the bottom here when we go to air? If you want to share your mobile. I'm happy to share my mobile and email address. But if you go to the MoneyGPS website, there are a number of videos that you can see how the platform works, how to generate an SOA in a few minutes, not a few weeks. And with minimal effort. With minimal effort, at less than $200 an SOA or less than 100. That's the main place to go to, because that also gives you an appreciation of the cost of the subscription fee, how the marketing works, what you receive as an advice practice or an accountant or a super fund back. Super funds is a bit different because it's more of a licensing deal. So it's more of a SaaS enterprise discussion. But that's where they go to, Maja. And if they do that, what we'll do when we send this out is put a promo code on the bottom. If they use the promo code, then there'll be a special gift for them with a promo code that'll make them very happy. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining me today, George. My pleasure. It's been a pleasure to talk to you, as always. Thank you to our audience for tuning in. We do hope you enjoyed today's video, and I'll catch you again next time.